Welcome to the Mid Week Tease with me, Adelle Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, I want to talk about something many of us are quietly experiencing, even if we don't have the language for it yet. And it's what happens when your light makes people uncomfortable. Let's go there. There's a moment in many healing journeys when you realize something unsettling. You're not arguing anymore. You're not being cruel. You're not even doing anything wrong. You're just expanding, right? You're becoming more honest. You're laughing louder. You're dancing harder. You're softer in some ways. You're firmer in other ways. You're taking up space without apologizing for it. And suddenly, when these incredible things are happening to you, some relationships start to feel strained. Have you felt that? I can't be the only one, by the way. I know you've felt this, right? And so the relationships are getting strained, not because of conflict, but because your presence is no longer familiar to the version of you that the other person was comfortable with, be it a friendship, be it a relationship with a family member, be it an intimate partner. Can you relate? And why I want to talk about this is because it's such a serious thing, because what normally happens is dimming your light shows up, right? For many of us, dimming doesn't happen dramatically. It's not like a switch. 1 minute your light is on, you're reaping the benefits of healing, you're evolving to a version of you you've always wanted to be, and then the next minute it's off. No, it happens very quietly, right? So you start editing your joy. You find that maybe something great happens in your life. You have this good news, be it a promotion, or you bought something, or you got this deal, but you hesitate before sharing that good news. You start downplaying your achievements. Oh, it's nothing. You know what I mean? You get me? Oh my goodness. You start to make yourself more, relatable, more manageable, more low maintenance. You shrink. And you're shrinking not because you want to, but because somewhere along the way, in this relationship, you learned that your fullness made the other person uneasy. But this smallness, this dimming of your light, first, it's not humility. That's number one. And secondly, humility is also not synonymous or the same as self-erasure. Now, here's a truth that's kind of hard to swallow. Not everyone has the emotional capacity to celebrate you. I recently just had this conversation with an aunt of mine because I was talking about how another relationship with another family member drastically changed the more work I was doing on myself. And I realized that at first I was a bit annoyed with the change in the relationship, but with time, I got comfortable with it because I realized the person doesn't have the capacity to celebrate me. Some people bonded with you through struggle, through shared pain, through survival, through chaos. I don't know if you've ever had those friendships where you really feel the warmth of the friend when you're going through it. When you're going through a dark time, that's when you really feel they're there for you. But when things are great and there's light, you feel a disconnect. I'm pretty sure you've experienced such friendships, right? So when you move into joy and you move into ease and clarity or even confidence, it's a great thing that's happening for you. I'm not saying it should stop, but it also disrupts the dynamic. And you'll find that your growth reflects what they are not ready to face in themselves yet. And by the way, I'm just explaining what could be the situation. Please always remember that discomfort is absolutely not your fault. Someone else's inability to celebrate you Doesn't mean you're arrogant. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful or you're too much. It just simply means your light is asking more of the relationship than the relationship can give. It's bittersweet, but that's what it is. Now, this is a part that I feel like we don't even talk about enough, right? Letting go. Because at this point, I'm not even giving you an option of solving it. Nope. Me, by the way, if there's one thing I'll never risk for myself, and I also want you to never risk, is dimming your light or playing small. So that's why I've jumped right to letting go. Letting go doesn't always mean confrontation. It doesn't always mean a big speech. And it doesn't always mean cutting people off dramatically. Imagine. Sometimes letting go looks like you just stop over-explaining. You stop performing the smallness. It can mean choosing silence over self-betrayal, right? So you just don't share. It can mean allowing distance without forcing clarity. That's my favorite one. Sometimes those relationships, they need a lot of space between you and them. They need distance. And let me tell you, you don't need permission to outgrow spaces that require you to disappear. You know what I mean? And even when you are moving past those spaces, you don't have to villainize the person so as to justify releasing them. No. Which is what I learned. I was just like, that person doesn't have the capacity, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they're terrible. It doesn't mean they're evil, but it does mean there's going to be a lot more distance between me and them. It does mean I'm going to release them. And you can appreciate who they were in your life, and you can also still admit that they cannot walk with who you are becoming. And I always like telling my friends this and telling myself this. Remember that you are such an intelligent being. You can hold two contradictory truths or feelings at the same time. So you can appreciate who they were in your life and the good times and the times they showed up for you. And you can still also admit, hey, where I'm going, this person can't come. And then allow yourself to grieve. There is grief. There's grief for friendships that you hoped would evolve with you. There's grief for people you thought would clap louder and it's just like silence. There's grief for versions of closeness that just no longer fit. And you've got to let yourself feel that, because if you don't, emotions that are left unfelt always come back up. So allow yourself to feel the sadness of that, even though on your healing journey, you're going through something so beautiful, right? But just always trust what your body already knows. Pay attention to where you feel the urge to shrink. Pay attention to where your joy feels unsafe. Pay attention to where you have to brace yourself, before you go and hang out with someone. That's your intuition, all right? It's wisdom. So if you are having those feelings when you're hanging out with someone, don't second guess them. Lean in. Your body is also so intelligent, and sometimes it catches things before your mind even catches up, right? Just be very clear. And I know even as you're listening to this, you already have a feeling about a relationship or friendship that is forcing you to dim your light, that is forcing you to play small. You already know, right? I just want you to remember that you're not here to be palatable. You're not here to be convenient to others. And my goodness, you are not here to make yourself smaller so that other people can stay comfortable. Honestly, the relationships meant for you will never ask you to dim your light. They'll just make room for it. And if you are in a season of release, first, I'm also there. To the extent I've decided the word release is the next tattoo I'm getting, please always know that you're not failing at connection. You are honoring yourself. And if you're connected, speaking of connection, if you're connected with this episode, please share it with someone that you love. Thanks for listening to the Mid Week Tease, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.